and welcome back to Guided Souls. I'm your host, Katie, and I'm so excited to be back here for another week with you guys. If you prefer to watch instead of listen, you can head on over to my YouTube channel at Guided Soul Crystals, and you can also find me on all of the social media outlets at Guided Soul Crystals. Thank you for being patient with me with this episode. I know it's coming out a little bit later in the day on Wednesday, but I had a wonderfully relaxing birthday weekend at the coast. I love going to visit the ocean and spend time by the ocean. It's just such a powerful, beautiful body of water, and it was much needed R&R. So I feel refreshed and ready and back and just excited to share more about spirituality and be talking with you guys today. You know, it's so amazing to be coming home from a vacation and instead of dreading going to work the next day, being like, wow, I get to go back and do what I love now. So for anyone who is still not doing what they love, which I know is a lot of people out there, you know, it takes a while to maybe figure out what that is, maybe put the pieces of the puzzle together and try and be patient with yourself and the universe while that's happening. But it's definitely a pursuit and a path that is worth it to go down. It's not easy, but when you have realizations like that, like, oh, I'm going home from a vacation to continue living my dream life, it's pretty incredible. So I hope that inspires you to continue to want that for yourself as well, if that's something that you're not already pursuing. But today's topic is one that is really fun and it kind of snuck up on me. So I apologize for only doing it a day in advance, but we are talking about Litha, also known as Midsummer, and it is the pagan holiday that represents the summer solstice, which happens to be June 20th tomorrow. So I know that there's only probably a small portion of people who are actually going to hear this before tomorrow. You know, there's another portion who may hear it tomorrow, and then there's many of you who will hear it after Litha is over. And so I'm going to talk about a brief history of Litha, what it represents, and then I'm going to give you a bunch of different ways that you can celebrate, but don't feel like you have to do these on June 20th in order for them to be effective. My hope is that any of these can be used at any time of year, honestly, but especially around June 20th or even any time during the summer. You know, the summer is all about expansion and growth. So I really believe that any of these can be done during the summer months and still be very effective. So again, apologies for just kind of springing it on you right before Litha happens. I'll try and be better about that next year and in the future with upcoming holidays or celebrations to give you plenty of time to be able to listen and prepare before the holiday. But I just felt like this was a really fun topic that I wanted to discuss. So I would also encourage you to take what resonates for you, leave what doesn't. If something does not sound fun, you definitely do not have to do it. If you think of something else that is not what I mentioned at all, but sounds right to you, I think that's one thing that I just really want to hammer home as much as possible to anyone who listens to my content is, you know, I'm showing you one way to do things, but my hope is more than anything that I am inspiring your mind to open to new ways that you want to do things. I think so often in this day and age, we can get so caught up in, am I doing this right? And let me Google the history and all the different things. And it's like, that can be helpful as a jumping off point, but nothing is going to be more powerful in your spiritual practice than leaning into the things that feel right and natural to you. So if any of this does not feel right and natural to you, that is perfectly okay. Please, please, please feel free to substitute these with your own celebrations and ways of honoring the day. And if you choose not to honor it at all, that is also completely fine. This is not a one size fits all. You are on your own unique journey, and however you choose to live that out in your life is completely up to you. So, Litha is a pagan holiday, as I mentioned, which celebrates the beginning of summer. It always falls on the summer solstice, and it's also referred to as Midsummer. It's the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, the day with the most light, and in pagan tradition, Litha marked the end of Oak King's reign and the rise of Holly King, who oversees the days as they gradually get shorter and as the world descends into the cold dark of winter. And so it's sort of strange. I guess to me, there's like a little bit of a dichotomy in celebrating a day with the most light, knowing that immediately what follows that is that the days are going to get shorter. And so you could almost see that as a bit of a negative thing, like, oh, the days are about to get shorter. But I think for me personally, how I want to look at it or how I choose to look at it is just this beautiful balance and representation of the change in seasons, both in our life and in nature, and just an honoring of the ways that Mother Nature and Mother Earth work. And the changing of seasons is honestly just, I think, a really beautiful process. And so to honor the fact that, yes, it has been wonderful spring as days continue to get longer, and it's also beautiful as the days continue to get shorter. It's just a different season. Litha was also known as a celebration of the Celtic goddess Danu, who represents earth and fruitfulness. It has been celebrated in a lot of different ways throughout history, with a lot of different ancient cultures woven in. The element of Litha is fire, so bonfires have traditionally been a way that many individuals, especially the Celts, will celebrate this holiday. Oftentimes, there is also dancing or music involved. It's definitely a time for inner power and brightness and expansion and growth. It's like you can think about it as everything being at its most heightened growth, expansive state. And to really be able to have gratitude for all of the bounty and everything that you have in your life and that Mother Earth gives you. You know, one thing that I've been trying to do recently, just in my everyday life, to kind of cultivate these tiny moments of magic is just be grateful for things like running water. You know, I'll be like filling a pot with water to cook, and I'm just like, wow, how incredible is it that we have the technology to have running clean water in our homes to then put on a stove where we can just light it and there's a fire? You know, little things like that, particularly connecting to elements such as water, earth, air, and fire, I think are really beautiful practices. So I myself am Irish, if you can't already tell by the red hair, or if for some reason you're listening to this and you've never seen me or a picture of me, I have red hair, and I'm Irish on my mom's side. And I've definitely been feeling more called towards my pagan ancestors than ever before this year. And I'm currently reading a book called Wild Magic: Celtic Folk Traditions for the Solitary Practitioner. Uh, Highly recommend. I'm only a little bit of the way through it, but so far it's brought me a lot of helpful little tips and tricks of how to work with Mother Earth, Mother Nature, and the different elements within nature. But we did celebrate summer solstice. We didn't necessarily call it Litha in my household, but we did celebrate summer solstice when I was a kid. And my mom would say, you know, this is in honor of our pagan ancestors, which I had no idea what that even meant. I was just like, yeah, sure, whatever. But we would celebrate it by, we'd go on the front porch, our front porch, not our back porch. I don't know why we chose to do this on the front porch. Maybe that's where the sun was setting. Maybe we did it at sunset. I'll have to check in with my mom about that. But we would have these like scarves, these like silk scarves or something, and she would play Gaelic or Celtic chants. And me, my mom, my sister, and my dad would just like dance on our front porch. And we'd also typically do some sort of, you know, fire and burn our resentments in the fire. And I just thought it was totally normal. I really did not think anything of it, which is kind of funny looking back because I grew up in a Catholic household. Like, we did this in honor of the pagan ancestors, but it's not like we were pagan. Very much went to Catholic church, went to Catholic school. And I also lived in a predominantly Mormon neighborhood and community. So we definitely would have some very strange looks from our neighbors. And I just want to, give kudos to my mom, but also my dad for going along with it and just being like, this is fun. We want to celebrate this. We don't care who sees us celebrate this. And I hope that, whatever religion or spiritual beliefs I choose to have in the future, or my children tend to have or choose to have, I just hope that that is a spirit that we can embody. Like, this is fun. This is a celebration. This is all about, love, and we're not going to apologize for that. So I just loved that my mom did that and that my dad also supported it. And it, I really didn't think anything of it as a kid, but it was just beautiful how it planted the seed for future celebrations. And this is the first year that I will be celebrating Litha as an adult all day. I feel like in the past, it's been, after work, I remember to like write down some reflections and maybe burn them or something. But I have never, honestly, in my life spent the entire day celebrating it. So I'm really excited to be doing that this year. So, on to ways that you can celebrate Litha. These are ways that you can honor both the sun and Mother Earth and everything that we are given in this life here on Earth. At least for me, I try not to take for granted how beautiful being a human is, how lucky I am to live on this beautiful planet Earth, how everything that I have, from the technology that is in front of me to, the sunlight that's streaming in through these windows, is all a gift. And when you are able to live a good portion of your life in that gratitude mindset, it just opens up your heart to receive even more, because you are already in that mode of receiving, because you are recognizing that everything that you have is truly a gift. But again, you can celebrate however you want to. These are just some ways that I have either thought of or done research on, and ways that I will be choosing to celebrate this year. So first things first, I think the more you can do outside and or with the elements, the better. I say and or because, say you don't live near a body of water, but you can take a bath, or say you don't have a bonfire outside, but you have a fireplace or something like that. So, you can definitely get creative with how and where you work with the elements, but the ideal scenario would be outside and with the elements. One thing that I am going to start off my day doing is kind of a combination of things. So, a lot of different traditions will recommend doing a sunrise meditation. So, again, unless you are listening to this on Wednesday, June 19th, you probably will not hear this in time to do a sunrise meditation on Litha. So I apologize for that. But trust me, you can choose to do this anytime in or around Litha, or anytime in the summer months in general. I do believe that this will still very much be a relevant and potent exercise. So I'm going to attempt to get up close to sunrise. I just checked what time the sun rises in my town before recording this, and it rises at 5:22 tomorrow. So that's going to be a little bit of a tough one for me. I feel like 6:30 to 7 is usually, if I'm up by 6:30, I am killing it. Great job, Katie. We're ready to start the day. More often than not, it's closer to 7. So being up and ready to do a sunrise meditation by 5:20 tomorrow might be a little bit tough, but I'm going to try my best. And I personally am going to choose to do a walking meditation. So I will walk to the river, which I have near my house, which is so incredibly wonderful and one of the things that I am the most grateful for where I live. And so I will take some sort of little jar with me. I plan to put flowers in that jar from my garden, walk to the river, and really just watch the sunrise, have gratitude for the sunrise and the sun, do a walking meditation. I'll probably bring some sort of crystal, maybe wear like a crystal necklace or jewelry or have something in my pocket. And then when I get to the river, I am going to release the flowers as an offering to the river in exchange for scooping up some river water and asking, I don't want to give you exact wording, but I'll say something while I'm there to the effect of thanking the water, showing them my gratitude, showing the spirits of the water my gratitude, and also asking that they bless the water that I take with me. When I come back from that, I will then set that jar outside in a spot where it's going to be in the sun all day. I think most people probably have one spot on their property where it's sunny for the majority of the day. So I'll find that spot and then I will just leave it there. And what you're doing when you're doing that is creating sun water, and you're creating it on a day where the sun is very powerful. It has the most light. And so I'll come back and collect it at sunset. And then I can use that sun water moving forward when I am doing meditation, when I am working with crystals, when I am doing spell work, when I am working on growing my manifestations or asking, the heavens for help with a certain thing. I will use that sun water for that in the future. I personally will then go to a dance class tomorrow morning that feels really freeing and open and accepting. That makes me feel happy, but I definitely recognize that not everyone likes to go to a dance class or has access to a dance class, so you don't have to do that. If there's a similar activity or hobby that you have that you love that just makes you feel alive, I would really encourage you to try and take time out of your day to do that, because by participating in the things that we love and that make us feel free and alive, just by doing that, we are showing gratitude for the things that we have. By prioritizing our own, happiness, joy, having fun, we are showing gratitude for the things that we have to Mother Earth and to the universe. I will also be doing a lot of reflection. So here are some journal prompts that you can work with if you choose to. One would be to look at everything that you've accomplished since Yule. So Yule is also the winter solstice. It's the shortest day of the year. I believe it was December 20th or 21st of last year. It's always around that time. And this is the exact halfway mark from the last Yule to the Yule of 2024. So a lot of times we will set intentions at Yule, and you may have done this without even realizing it, especially if you're not aware of these pagan holidays, but you may have set an intention around that time or started to get the ball rolling on things around that time that have now since grown and expanded. So really looking at how far you have come and all of the things and ways that you have grown and expanded. And then you can also reflect on what it is that you want to continue to grow and expand as the days grow shorter, in addition to what do you want to let go of as the days get shorter and the nights get longer and there is more darkness. What are those things in your life that you would like to just kind of let go of? And in addition to that, you can really take a look and do some reflection on the balance between light and dark in your life. There's such a beautiful spot and place for both light and dark. I know it's such a popular phrase to say love and light in the spiritual community, and I'm not dogging anyone that says that. I think there's a lot of beauty in it. I personally try to stay away from it only because I think for me, the ideal saying would be like love, light, and darkness, but That's probably a weird thing to say to someone, but I just think that it's like a yin and a yang. Without darkness, there could be no light. Without light, there could be no darkness. And so to kind of focus on one without the other really does not make sense to me. But that's probably a story for a different time. So you can reflect on the balance between light and darkness in your life and how they equally serve you. I think that's so important too. How does the darkness in your life serve you as well as the light? If you are already someone who has a gratitude journal or gratitude list, that's amazing. If not, this is a great time to start that practice or even just try it for the day if you don't want to commit to doing it every day. But just writing down everything that you are grateful for, showing gratitude for the bounty that Mother Earth has given you in this life is incredible. It's such a wonderful healing process for me. And I tend to also love to hold a crystal while I'm doing some sort of reflection or gratitude journal or list. It really helps just amplify those feelings, the crystal of your choice, and to really just ground yourself in the feeling of gratitude. Feel that in your heart, feel that in your body. Let it expand throughout your body and outside of your body into your life as well. You know, get really granular and specific about the things that you are grateful for. There is nothing too small and nothing too big. I do it all the time, and it is seriously such a healing and inspiring process and thing to do. You can also decorate with flowers. You can make flower wreaths, flower garlands. I personally am going to take flowers to the river. I might also take some flowers from my garden and put them in my home. But if you don't have a garden or you don't have flowers, you can certainly just go to the grocery store or a floral shop and get some flowers, put them around your house, maybe make them into a wreath. Maybe you want to do a flower crown, or maybe you want to give them to Mother Earth or the river. Flowers are a wonderful, beautiful way to celebrate this holiday, and in my opinion, the more colorful, the better. I'm going to be totally honest, I'm probably not going to do this one, but you could go for what's called a wild swim. So if you happen to live near a river, the ocean, a creek, and it's safe to swim in that water, you can absolutely do that. That is a wonderful way to celebrate and connect with Mother Earth. Personally, I live in a place where the water is freezing cold, so I will not be doing that, but I will probably draw a bath and, have some sort of meditation in the bath. So that's when I said it's like work with the elements as much as possible and or be outside. We're not going to be outside for all of them. Maybe if you're me, you're not going to go for a wild swim, but just know that that is an option for you. This is also an incredible time to charge your crystals in the sun. Unlike the sun water, do not leave them out all day. I would just leave them out for an hour or two, probably 2 max, but the sun again is very powerful on this day, so it's a wonderful time to charge them. It's also an incredible time to work with crystals. So after you charge them, you don't have to necessarily sit in the sun. I myself get sunburnt so easily. So I will be doing this in the shade, but I will be working with my crystals outside after charging them in the sun. And I plan to just help them, or you work with them to help me with my reflection, with my journaling, with my meditating, with my gratitude. So that's kind of like something that can be woven into all of the other things that have already been mentioned. You can also host a solstice feast with loved ones. There are lots of different recipes to celebrate Litha, especially anything that involves honey, lavender, lemon, fresh herbs, different colors that remind you of the sun, foods that remind you of the sun, something that incorporates the element of fire. You can really be creative with it. You can look it up, or you can just decide for yourself what feels right for you. I probably will not have a full feast, but I will probably make some sort of dinner for me and my husband. And I think trying to make a honey cake also sounds fun, so I will probably do that. And I also, again, I might do a whole episode on this, but I've been really just trying to cultivate small moments of magic in my everyday life. And so I've found that the more I can really focus on things around the house as being beautiful rituals that I get to do, like cleaning my house, the fact that I have a home that I get to clean and putting so much love into that really has helped open my mind to cleaning my home. So, in order to celebrate this holiday to the fullest, I'm going to want to have a clean kitchen and a clean home. So, I'm going to work on doing that today so that I have that in preparation for tomorrow. This one I've never done before, but it sounds fun. And so I'm hoping it's something I can start to incorporate, if not right now, if not tomorrow, then definitely in the future, is making a little house for fairies in the woods or in your yard, giving offerings of butter, cream, or honey. Honey is like very much a significant, I don't know what you would call it. A significant food for Litha and for giving offerings. But I just think it sounds like a fun activity that kind of gets you in the spirit of magic and maybe reminds you of kind of like that childlike wonderment that you once had. I know I used to, want to have tea parties with fairies and stuff like that. So anything that kind of gets you in that mindset, I think is fun and can be a wonderful way to connect with the holiday. And lastly, again, I have not tried this, but I will be doing this tomorrow. I am going to make sun tea. So it's literally just making tea or having like water in a teacup and then putting it outside and allowing the sun to heat it up. And then add your tea bags, I think, and probably some honey, and then drinking that water. So you're going to want to make sure it's like in a place where it won't get contaminated in any way. And maybe don't leave it out there for a super long time, but you're not going to want to drink the sun water that you got from the river. So if you did get the sun water from the river, this is a good alternative where you can actually ingest it into your body in a way that is safe, but also still kind of cultivates the power of Litha and also the sun that we are so fortunate to have in our lives and truly, gives us life. So that is all I have in terms of ways that you can celebrate Litha. Again, if you happen to listen to this in time, amazing. If you don't, oh my gosh, should I not mention a bonfire? I don't know if that was on my list. Wow. Okay. I know I said it earlier, but I don't know if I said it in the ways to celebrate. Absolutely. If you have the ability to have a bonfire, have some sort of fire outside, maybe have a fire inside, if that, like with your fireplace in a safe way, if an outdoor bonfire is not available to you. And if you want to have things to throw in the fire, whether it be things that you want to let go of, things that you are hoping to expand even more on, you can absolutely do that. And if you feel like dancing around the fire with a scarf, with some music on, with friends, laughing, however you want to do that, I absolutely recommend that being a part of this celebration as well. I cannot believe I almost finished this without mentioning a way to celebrate is by having a bonfire. And maybe I already said that. I really don't think I did. I think I said it in like an explanation of it, but not as an actual way to celebrate. So anyways, that is all I have for you in terms of how to celebrate Litha. If you happen to listen to this before or on 620, you're welcome. If you listen to it afterwards, I'm so sorry. And please feel free to do this on any time around the summer solstice or in the summer months in general. It definitely still applies. You can take one of these things, you can take all of them, you can take none of them. whatever feels right to you. And also keep in mind that there is a full moon the next day as well. So this is a very potent time, a lot of powerful energy, use and cultivate and work with it in the way that feels right to you. That is always what is going to be the most powerful. And remember to have fun. I think so often the spiritual world can get so heavy and just serious. And it's like, I love things like this where we can give thanks, but we're also celebrating and having fun and just enjoying life and loving life. So I'm very much looking forward to celebrating this next year. And for the next, holiday or celebration that I talk about, I will do my best to do it at least a week in advance so you have more time. But, better late than never if you find it and if you want to participate in some of it. So if you haven't already and you've enjoyed this episode, please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe. Rating is super easy. You can leave me a review like by typing something if you want, that'd be amazing. But if all you want to do is click 5 stars at the end, like at the bottom of your screen as you're listening to this podcast, you could do it while I'm talking right now and be done before this is over in less than a minute. Like that is how quick it takes. So just give that little 5-star a tap and subscribe to the show by just adding it to your library. That really helps me, as well as you can make it your Instagram story, share it with a friend. I know I've definitely grown my listenership a lot just through word of mouth, people mentioning the podcast to someone who they think might like it. So that would be amazing too. You can always share a link directly with people of the podcast episode. So any of those that you would like to do for me would mean so much to me. I love doing this, and I do this particular podcast totally for free. So that's a really quick and easy and free way to pay me and help me out by giving back in terms of this podcast. So thank you so much for listening to me. And I hope that you have found this helpful and that you can incorporate some of these moving forward. Until next time, keep going. You are doing amazing, and I love you.